Hello. A crazy teenager with ear piercings, Donny Berger, manages to get 2 tickets to a Van Halen show. The kid brags about it to his friends and offers 1 ticket to Miss Mary McGarrigle, who sparks exciting fantasies in his mind. This bold move leads to the boy suddenly being given the opportunity to make those fantasies come true. It turns out that Miss McGarrigle has had reciprocal forbidden feelings towards the boy for over a year. The couple begins a crazy secret affair, which accidentally becomes revealed in front of a huge audience, and Donny Berger, in an instant, becomes an idol of his peers. However, it soon turns out that Mary is pregnant, and Donny himself becomes a star of a TV show because of his story and earns a lot of money because of his growing popularity. But the story is far from a happy ending, as Mary is sent to prison and the couple's baby is left in the care of the clueless young father. Many months after the student-teacher relationship was made public, Miss McGarrigle develops a noticeable belly. She is sentenced to 30 years in prison for committing unlawful acts, and the newborn child is ordered by a judge to be placed in Donny's custody until the son turns 18. The day of the trial and parting with his beloved becomes the beginning of Donny's public fame and glory. The guy appears in countless television shows, receives staggering royalties, and flashes on the covers of glossy magazines. Many years go by. Donny Berger, a former celebrity, rides around in a crumbling car, drinks beer in the afternoon, and to rub salt in the wound, his lawyer informs him of a $43,000 tax debt that could result in a 3-year prison sentence. While receiving enormous royalties, Donny has never paid his taxes.
I thought they were taking it out automatically.
Complicating the already disastrous situation is the condition requiring Donny to make the payment by the end of the week. This would allow him to avoid jail time, but Donny only has $28 in his pocket. The lawyer offers the poor guy a way out to bet $20 on the Boston Marathon contestant, nicknamed Fat Guy, whose odds of winning are 8,000 to 1, or to ask his son for money. But it turns out that the boy, whom Donny has named Han Solo, left his father when he was 18 and has been carefully hiding from him ever since. In the meantime, promising young financier Todd Peterson meets his fiancée Jamie. She enthusiastically shows him the newspaper, on the front page of which is a picture of them together and the announcement of the couple's upcoming wedding. For some reason, Todd, now a little anxious, does not share his bride's excitement, instead worrying that the publication is unnecessary.
It's got our faces and our names. It just seems like anyone could find us.
In response to this strange comment, a caring Jamie asks if her fiancé has taken his antidepressants today and tries to comfort Todd with the promise of the best wedding ceremony in the world. Drinking at his favorite establishment, Donny wonders where he can get the money to pay his taxes so he doesn't go to jail. The only thing he knows how to do is being himself, but the days of TV fame and huge royalties are long gone. Looking for job advertisements, he examines a newspaper and suddenly recognizes his son in the photo on the front page. Despite the fact that Han Solo has lost a lot of weight and changed his name, Donny is sure he's not mistaken. A stripper suggests that Donny ask him for money to pay the taxes, but his father is riddled with doubts. After all, the boy has changed his name, and moreover, stated in his biography that his parents were killed in an explosion. Todd brings his bride and her parents to his boss, Mr. Sparrow, for the weekend. The affable man warmly welcomes the guests and expresses his pride in the clever guy, telling them to make themselves at home in his cottage. Soon, Jamie's brother Chad, a tough Marine, joins the party, explicitly hinting to Todd that he's ready to stand up for his sister and deal with him with his bare hands at any moment. Looking for a way to earn money, Donny follows in the footsteps of his former glory and arrives at Randall Morgan's TV company. There, he meets his longtime friend, the singer of the hit Ice Ice Baby, rapper Vanilla Ice, who also happens to be Miss McGarrigle's son. Angered at Donny for the affair with his mother, Vanilla Ice refuses to help him get out of hardship, as he himself is now working at the ice rink and selling chicken nuggets out of necessity. The reunion of former friends escalates into a fight, which is stopped by the TV personality Randall Morgan, who shows up behind their backs. Taking advantage of the chance meeting, Donny tries to convince Randall to renew the show and offers the man a sensational scenario: his reunion with Miss McGarrigle. However, the sly broadcaster chasing ratings forces him to bring his grown-up son to the meeting as well, which will guarantee Donny a royalty of $50,000. Soon, Donny shows up on the doorstep of Todd's boss's house and brazenly bursts into the living room, where the friendly company is having dinner. As swaggering as he was in his distant youth, Donny stuns everyone with his behavior and embarrasses the bewildered Todd, who introduces him as an old friend. However, he manages to charm the bride's family, and they graciously offer him to stay for dinner. Todd takes his insolent father into a nearby room, where they begin to argue violently. The son rightly suspects that the missing father has shown up to beg him for money, In response, Donny plays out his cover story and tells him that Mary is sick and the son is obliged to visit his mother, whom he hasn't seen in years, in jail this Saturday, the night before his wedding. Todd, however, strongly disagrees.
Not happening, asshole. What?
Along with this, the angry son reminds his father of all the failures in his upbringing and their consequences. For example, because of the daily sweets for breakfast as a child, Todd is now forced to inject himself with insulin. The quarrel is interrupted by Jamie, who knocks on the door and tells the men that it's time for Todd to come out. Donny Berger makes a sensation among the gathered guests. He easily finds common language with the sophisticated ladies, and soon, one of those present recognizes him as a former star of the TV screens. They talk about Donny's son as well, to which he, with a snarking glance at Todd, informs them that Han Solo works as a private detective. Later, the sudden appearance of his father finally gets out of Todd's control. His friend Phil gives Donny the best man spot at the wedding. That evening in the bedroom, Jamie admiringly shows her groom an adorable $12,000 wedding dress. In addition to the dress, the couple also discuss Todd's peculiar old friend, and the girl shows him a book, a copy of which Donny has given out to the whole family. Todd reluctantly opens the first page and sees on it the author's sincere message to his son, and suddenly, it evokes heartwarming feelings in him. To avoid accidentally revealing his secret, the boy tries to divert Jamie's attention to intimacy, but gets a slap on the wrist from the annoyed bride, who worries about keeping the gorgeous dress in perfect condition. The next morning, the family goes to the church for the wedding rehearsal. The newlyweds and their relatives are greeted by the good-natured Father McNally. The priest offers to start the rehearsal with the speech by the groom's father, and in response learns from Jamie, the bride, that he is dead. Father McNally expresses his condolences to Todd, to which he begins to say that his father does not deserve them. The priest tries to talk some sense into Todd and urges him not to insult the deceased in the house of the Lord. But the boy, provoked by Donny, continues to add fuel to the fire and declares that he wasn't listening to his teachings because
all I can focus on is your breath.
The reserved clergyman suggests that Todd go out into the garden. And just as the company crosses the threshold of the church, Father McNally suddenly slaps him sharply across the face. Then he throws off his jacket and reveals that there is a mountain of muscle hidden beneath it. And Jamie's father reveals to Donny that McNally once killed a man in the ring, hence the reason he became a priest. The Holy Father, meanwhile, is frantically beating up the groom. And to save his son from further injuries, Donny knocks McNally out with a blow to the head. The family blames Todd for what happened and gives him a good scolding. Donny, however, manages to find a way out of the situation. He tells a sad story about Todd's father's death, which changes the mood of the family, and everyone agrees to simply find another place. Thus, the wedding is moved to the ocean, where the workers immediately begin to prepare the decorations, and Jamie and her friends go to the bachelorette party. To Donny's delight, it turns out that a bachelor party is also arranged for Todd. The group of men arrive at a spa where Donny expects to be entertained exotically, but instead they are served water infused with rose petals, clay masks, massages, and pedicures. Infuriated by such a dull bachelor party, Donny encourages everybody to spend their time elsewhere, and he easily succeeds in getting the men interested in his new proposal.
I could have 6 chicks making out with each other on our laps in 10 minutes.
The bachelor party continues at Donny's favorite club, where the company spends time with booze and half-naked girls. After this, Donny sends his cheerful companions home in a limousine to spend some time alone with his son, and the first thing he does is give him a wedding present. Inside the case of the audio tape turns out to be an earring with a feather, which Mary herself had once given to Donny. After some hesitation, Todd agrees to pierce his ear to wear his father's gift, and after enduring the terrible pain, confesses that he feels more masculine. Afterward, father and son decide to go out and have fun with an old friend and visit Vanilla Ice, who stuffs Todd's chest pocket with chicken nuggets, after which the trio sets out to have exciting nighttime adventures. As a result, father and son find an understanding and they submit with a firm embrace, and Todd himself offers to visit his mother in prison. However, Donny, whose sincere paternal love and conscience now prevents him from profiting from his son, discourages him from the endeavor. But despite his father's resistance, the next morning Todd decides to visit his mother and informs his dad about this by telephone. Donny immediately rushes after his son to prevent him from meeting the broadcaster Randall Morgan, but doesn't make it in time. A camera crew surrounds father and son, at which point Todd instantly realizes what is happening.
This is why you came to see me?
Donny has to explain his tax problem to the furious son, and Todd refuses to help him. In addition, Randall tells the protagonist that he won't get any money unless his son signs a copyright disclaimer for the footage they've just shot. Realizing that his relationship with his son is hopelessly damaged, Donny nevertheless does not give up, and in an attempt to fix things, wants to mend his relationship with Jamie so that the girl would reconcile him with Todd. With this in mind, he shows up at the hotel where the bride traditionally sleeps separate from her fiancé before the wedding. However, After stopping at the door of her room with conciliatory ice cream, the hero hears unambiguous noises coming from behind it and decides to sneak into the room through the balcony to expose the unfaithful bride. Suspecting the girl of having an affair with Todd's boss, Donny finds himself even more baffled as her own brother is in bed with the bride. Shocked to the core by what he sees, the protagonist decides to save his son from marrying the adulterous woman and intends to tell him everything. But the cunning Jamie decides to bribe the man with money, and this provocation works. The morning of the wedding day, Donny calls his lawyer to let him know that he will be able to pay his taxes. At the same time, he unpacks his belongings, among them a gift from his son, and the box is an oven mitt, Todd's childhood toy, which he, as it turns out, has kept it all these years. This is when the fatherly love has outweighed his fear of imprisonment. Taking Vanilla Ice as his partner, Donny desperately rushes to crash the wedding. When the panting dad shows up at the ceremony, Todd is about to swear eternal love to his bride, but doesn't manage to do it in time. Donny declares that he is against this marriage. He admits that he is Todd's father and forces Jamie to confess her dirty deeds by tearing up the $50,000 check he received the day before in front of her. Todd, completely shocked by the revelation, breaks up with Jamie, and after a farewell brawl, the reunited Bergers leave together. After a while, Donny, in the company of his son and friends, eats a goodbye cake before heading off to prison. Donny decides to serve his due time and not take the required sum of money from his son to pay the taxes, even though Todd himself offered him to do so. Suddenly, Donny's lawyer bursts into the club and in panic turns on the TV. It turns out that the Boston Marathon is going on at the same time, and the fat guy, on whom Donny bet $20 with a probability to win 8,000 to 1, is competing in it. The runner comes to the finish line first and brings Donny his winnings of $160,000. As always, you'll find the name of the movie in the description. And let us know in the comments, are there any deeds you wouldn't forgive your loved ones for? And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next awesome retelling.